Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, should Fox Sports replace Nick Wright for ranking Kawhi Leonard the 11th best player in the NBA? So that's the topic I'm going to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. I've always said this, that I believe that Nick Wright is a joke. Nick Wright is he's like a running gag. He's like the biggest joke in sports to me when it comes to, especially the basketball commentary. Some people might say, well, you're being a little bit too harsh. No. I believe in my full being that Nick Wright is a joke when it comes to talking about basketball. I truly believe that. I believe most of the times he doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. I think he said, this is what I think about Nick Wright. I personally believe that Nick Wright and Ryan Hollins are very similar. Nick Wright is just a more articulate version of Ryan Hollins. Ryan Hollins is probably the worst basketball analyst of all time. He's he's at the bottom of the barrel. Like at the bottom of the barrel. He's terrible. But Nick Wright is right there with him. But Nick Wright does it in a more elegant way. His foolishness is it's much more elegant. Right? It has a much better smelling cologne to it. They both say things for shock value and things that they know will get people angry, because this is what I'm understanding about TV. I truly believe that TV, they don't really take a consensus of the things that people are saying, except for when they say controversial things that are not PC, like politically correct, or things that are just inflammatory, maybe things against, racial things, or things probably against, gender, or things like that, or maybe certain political things. Then they'll reprimand some of their analysts. But I don't think that they truly take inventory of the knowledge of a lot of the people that they have on TV discussing certain sports. If they did, you wouldn't have a lot of the people that we do on television. And I believe that Nick Wright is a terrible basketball analyst, terrible, and probably the worst in the business as far as those that are at the top, that are on the biggest shows on TV. If you're looking at Undisputed, First Things First, ESPN First Take, if you look at the big shows, the top four, he's probably the worst. And I mean that. He's the worst. He's the worst. And I think he says a lot of the things that he says to get people annoyed. And he's a very good actor. He knows what he's saying is absolutely absurd. Nevertheless, he still says it because he knows it's going to get ratings. But I think when he goes home and he's in his private moments, he then realizes, like, haha, as long as I'm making my money, I can say stupid stuff. And, as long as I'm making my money, I'm fine. So Nick Wright is a huge fanboy of LeBron James. We all know this. And because of that, he's always kind of taken shots at Kawhi Leonard. Because of that reason. You can call it whatever else you want to call it. We can play all the games. But I know the exact reason he takes shots at him. Because he's a fan of LeBron, and he believes that Kawhi Leonard is a legitimate threat to LeBron, because both of these guys have faced in the finals. And they both, beat each other in the finals. So he views Kawhi Leonard as a legitimate threat. And he does whatever he can to try to, remove any legitimacy to Kawhi Leonard. I believe literally that's what he does. Same thing with Shannon Sharp. Just look at when Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers lost in the playoffs last year. Look how hard he came out against Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. You would have thought that they did something to him personally. No, not that they did anything to him personally. It's just that he was angry that Kawhi didn't join LeBron James, and therefore, because he didn't join LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard turned into his enemy. Because just the year prior, he was supporting the hell out of Kawhi. You would sit down, you look at Shannon Sharp, be like, is this the same person I'm looking at? Just a year ago was calling Kawhi Leonard's performances in the playoffs virtuosos and all of this different thing. So for those of the people that may not understand why I'm saying this, let me give you this information for your edification here on Nick Wright. They have a ranking system that they have on their show, First Things First, which I think is very, very stupid, because it's usually led by Nick Wright. So the rankings are going to be very, very convoluted and stupid. So he did a ranking. And he did his season-ending ranking for the top 50 players in the NBA. I'm not even going to waste your time with the bottom 30, 35. So we get to the top tier, the top 12. And we get there, and guess who he has ranked as the number 11th or 12th best player in the world? Guess who Nick Wright has ranked there? You guessed it. Yes, you did. he had Kawhi Leonard ranked as the 11th best player in the NBA, right? As the 11th best player. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting out there thinking, what? Let me give you the reason why he ranked Kawhi Leonard the 11th best player in the NBA. The reason he ranked Kawhi Leonard the 11th best player in the NBA is because of his injury past. Because Kawhi Leonard has an injury past, he feels as if it's a good enough reason to rank him outside of the top 10 NBA players in the NBA today. Let me give you guys Kawhi Leonard's numbers in the playoffs quickly. In the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard averaged 30 points. This is in 11 games. 30 points per game. 57.3% from the field, which led the playoffs in field goal percentage. He had the number one PR in the playoffs. He shot 40% from the three, 88% from the free throw line. Got you 7.7 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and 2.1 steals. Shooting 57% from the field as a perimeter player. That's better than Kevin Durant, who some consider to be the best player in the NBA. That's this Kawhi Leonard he's talking about. Let me give you guys some pretty interesting information. Let me tell you guys what Kawhi Leonard has. Let me tell you what Kawhi Leonard has in common with these players that he has ranked ahead of him. Let me tell you what he has in common with Chris Paul, LeBron James, James Harden, Stephen Curry, Joel Embiid. All of these players, he either has them in the top 5 or in the top 10. LeBron, he has him in the top 3. Let me tell you what he has in common with all of these guys. They have all missed at least 14 games over the last year in the NBA season. These guys here, at least 14. This season, James Harden missed 28 games. This season, LeBron James missed 27 games this season. Stephen Curry just last season missed over 40 games due to injury. Joel Embiid this season missed 21 games. And Kawhi Leonard this season missed 20 games. He missed 20 games. So help me understand something. If the reason Nick Wright ranks Kawhi Leonard the 11th best player in the NBA is because of his injury past, that means that these guys I just mentioned before should be ranked below Kawhi Leonard. If we're going off of injuries, and that's your qualifier, this means that LeBron James, James Harden, Stephen Curry, Joel Embiid should be ranked behind Kawhi Leonard because they missed more games. So help me understand something. How does LeBron James miss 7 more games than Kawhi Leonard this season, and somehow LeBron ends up in the top 3 and Kawhi ends up being ranked number 11? Help me understand that. For the people out there that believe that Nick Wright is smart, that call him smart, help me understand that. How does it work? How does it work? How does your criteria only apply to one player? All of these guys miss just about the same amount of games as Kawhi Leonard or more, yet they're ranked in the top 10. Furthermore, you think Damian Lillard is better than Kawhi Leonard? So wait a minute. Okay. So if Kawhi Leonard, if injuries weren't the reason Kawhi Leonard in the top wasn't in the top 10, if Kawhi Leonard was healthy, where would you rank him then? Because LeBron missed more games than Kawhi, and you have him ranked number 3. Let me just say this quickly. Nick Wright should not be taken seriously when it comes to basketball. I don't even think he deserves to be on TV. This guy is terrible. He is terrible. He's so transparent. He's so transparent. And he believes he's saying something enlightening. This guy is terrible. This is the guy that you guys let tell you that LeBron James is the GOAT. This is the guy that a lot of people walk around quoting, saying LeBron James is the GOAT, and they use Nick Wright's arguments. Some of the dumbest arguments is what he uses to say that LeBron James is the GOAT. If this doesn't right here doesn't tell you that Nick Wright is a fanboy, I don't know what else does. You hold Kawhi Leonard out of the top 10 because of his injury past, and LeBron and these other guys missed just as many games or more than him this season, and they're in the top. How does that work? Kawhi Leonard's team went to the conference finals. He was in the conference, in the conference semi. He played up to the conference semifinal. If he didn't get injured, he would be in the conference finals. And LeBron that went out in the first round, you have him ranked there. How? Kawhi put a better number. Like, what is he basing this off of? Like, somebody help me understand this. Nick Wright is a joke. I hope he sees it. He's a joke. How does this work? How is this guy on TV? He is terrible. He's a disgrace to basketball. He's a disgrace to basketball comment. How does this guy get a job as an analyst to be allowed to? People talk about Brandon Marshall talk. He's worse than him, because at least Brandon Marshall has an excuse. He was a former NFL player. He didn't go to school for journalism. He didn't have to do all of that. This wasn't his career trajectory. Like, this wasn't what he set out to do in his career. He was a former football player. So at least him, you can cut him up. He is terrible. Nick Wright is trash, man. I'm sorry. This dude is trash. He was the same dude that said at no point in Kobe Bryant's career was he ever the best player in him. And this is the dude you guys listen to? Oh my. All I can say is this. He must never be taken seriously. Fox Sports, y'all are looking terrible right now that you have Nick Wright talking about basketball. Fox Sports, if anybody from Fox watches this video, this guy is embarrassing your brand. I'm sorry. Because he is representing your brand and he's coming out there talking about basketball, but he's saying dumb things. This guy is bad and he's making you look bad. Y'all got to replace this guy. He is terrible and he's transparent. And he's not as smart as he thinks. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just because you know a lot of big words doesn't mean you're smart. And this right here is just another example. Nick Wright is terrible. He is terrible. He is garbage. Dude is trash. I'm sorry. How can you have a rule that only applies to one player? You know, Kawhi Leonard, because of his injury past, I got to rank him as the 11th best player. But then other players that you have ranked ahead of him have missed just as many games and they're in the top 10. Only Nick Wright can come up with something like that. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, because we got more content to get to. I don't even want to end this video in the proper way. Let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. I can't waste any more of my energy on this clown. Catch you guys later. Peace.